metagame definers are the anti-metagame units. So
I mean, Reinhardt isn't even the only. You've got Linda, Delthea,
Olwen,
even. Yeah. You know, there are a lot of strong blue mages. I would argue blue mage is the best of the sort of magical colours.
But Celica, though, wait a minute. You say that, but Celica, though.
I mean, yeah, Celica is a great unit, but I don't know,
Red
she's not that common.
Yeah, they're like anti-meta.
No, it's because the reason is because red mages are so rare. Like, Katarina, she's 5-star only, and like, so is Celica, and Thar's just 4-star.
If you think 3 of the 4 really good red mages, those being Celica, actually there are 5 I can think of. There's Celica, Tharja, Sanaki, Lilina, and who am I forgetting? Katarina? Yeah. 3 of those 5 are 5-star exclusive, and aren't in any banners at the moment, haven't been for a little while. I think the last one was probably Tharja in Choose Your Legend. And then before that, it would have been Celica in Tempest Trials. But it's a case of they're not that common, so you don't really need to build that many dedicated checks to them. And a lot of the time, units you have will do the job already, you know?
I think what it comes down to is that people want Reinhardt counters, so they want their green unit to be the one with good res. So that's why you see stuff like DC Camilla, DC Titania, those sort of units. And so running a mage that can't check Ryan is, not as good.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good argument. And at the same time, I think as soon as we get a red mage that has... I think Celica was very, very close. Celica was very close to being a very meta unit.
Yes, I agree.
Ragnarok is a great tome, but her stats are just a little bit short. You know, she's not got Delthea or Linda or Nino level stats. 32 attack and 33 speed, I think it is.
Yeah.
The speed probably being the thing that
I would
hurts
agree.
her the most there. Yeah.
And I mean, Ragnarok does a good job at fixing that, but it's a one-off. It's like a one and done, you know?
She's still really good. And if you have a plus speed
she's great.
She's,
Celica's a great unit, but I think as soon as we get a red mage that has, say, 34 attack, 35 speed, and can run Blade Tome really well, that's going to be a great unit right there. And we're going to see a lot of them to check units like Brave Ike, Amelia. Katarina's the same as Tharja, I think.
32, 34, so yeah.
Yeah. Think about it. 2 more points in attack and speed, and that's a great unit right there. It's just meeting those thresholds.
There are just so many mages with great stat lines that it really does come down to that one stat, because that could just be what creeps someone else or a seal or something, you know.
And that's a good segue into our next topic. I wanted to talk to you about power creep, because as you already know, they keep adding units with... I mean, you've seen it where stat lines are so close to others, like F. Robin and Boy, or Claris and Takumi. People consider it power creep when you got 1 more speed but 1 less attack. Do people want characters who have identical stat lines to start coming out? What are your thoughts on power creep?
This is the thing. I think people need to be very, very careful about throwing the term power creep around. I would say the only power creep we've really had in the game is killer and slaying weapons.
That's not even power creeps. Killer weapons were bad already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well,
that's why they were introduced. Killer weapons were underpowered.
Power creep is kind of defined as when the median or top level of power is increased. And because killer weapons weren't at that even close to being good, buffing them essentially is not really power creep.
It's more so a case of
in a pure sense.
It's a direct upgrade. You know, there's no reason you would ever use a killer lance over a slaying lance if you have both options available.
Now, indirectly speaking, I think we have seen some power creep. First of all, in the skills, we're seeing skills come out that they're not directly better. That's the thing. They never do direct upgrades. It's always indirect. So, for instance, Deathblow and Swift Sparrow. Some might say that Swift Sparrow is a power creep on Deathblow, but it's kind of not. But it kind of is. It's just in that grey area, so...
There are still many units that I can think of that would want to run Deathblow over Swift Sparrow. Brave Bow Archers, for the most part. Leon is a great example.
Especially the small ones. Churche, those sorts of units. Lucas. And then the other thing where I think there has been, technically, again, not direct power creep, but indirect power creep, although the sea whale units are a bit of an exception, is stat lines. So we are seeing units still come out with the same 157, 158 stat line for infantry flyers, but over time I think those stats are kind of being better assigned. And that sounds really subjective, but take for instance a unit like Nefni. Nefni has a really, really good stat distribution, and even Oscar, who's kind of considered by many to be a junk unit, obviously is far from a junk unit.
It's sort of in comparison. He's a great unit, but he's up against Nefni and Alincia.
Look at his stat line, and then you've got like Alincia and Tana, two really good examples. Although you could argue that Cordelia has been out since the start of the game. However, Cordelia didn't come with a legendary weapon, that sort of thing. So that's partially. I mean, Amelia's, I guess, another example where she just has those units with villager stat lines. I'm still salty Nefni didn't get one.
Yeah, I think trainees are maybe where you can say there's a bit of power creep, but I would argue that that's based on the existing game, and like it's representative of how they are in their origin. And I mean, we're not seeing trainee stats on like Bakut or like Jagan. The opposite. In fact,
really hope they that Jagan and Gunter actually have minus trainee stats. They've got old man stats.
Old man stats.
I think it's called veteran, not old man stats.
Yeah, I've been calling them veteran penalties, but I'm gonna go with that.
Stats.
Old man stats. We'll stick with it.
That's what they are. Dude, eventually Marcus is going to come out and he's going to have there's no getting around that age,
I don't know, it depends. Do they go for FE6 Marcus or FE7?
FE6 will definitely have old man. He's ancient in that game. He's so old.
Poor guy.
One thing I want to talk about is the Sea Whale units, because, let's face it, their weapons... I mean, to an extent, all legendary weapons are power creep.
Yeah.
Direct power creep. It's a reasonable point.
They're saved by the fact that they're exclusive to the character.
Yeah.
If you could start taking Alincia's Amityville and chuck it on whoever you wanted, then that would be a problem. For so many reasons.
Yeah, that's a really good point. But yeah, the Sea Whale units came with weapons that are just really good. I know, example is legendary weapons tend to come with a skill that is of level 2, so take for instance, like Eliwood, for instance, has got Deathblow 2 on his Durandal.
You've got Hector and Lynn with Quick Riposte 2.
Yeah.
Desperation 2 on Armads and Solcati, respectively.
Then Roy comes out and he's got, I think, what is it, Heavy Blade?
It's the Blazing Durandal, and it's Heavy Blade as well as Attack +3. Yeah.
So it's like 2 full level A skills, which is definitely... I've got a friend who loves Eliwood and is in the process. He wants to 5-star +10 his Eliwood. And I feel bad for him.
Yeah,
because,
that would suck. I feel as though Choose Your Legend is where the sort of line between power creep and sort of playing to fan requests, for lack of a better term, that line begins to blur. Because if you think, they had a popularity contest where they say, pick who you want in the game. And, I mean, it was so obvious that these units were going to be strong. Like, I don't think anyone doubted that they were going to be very strong units before release, because, heck, you've got someone like Ike who was in the top 2. I think he had two versions of himself, and it was number 1 and number 2 respectively. Like, people love this character, and they're waiting for this Choose Your Legend version.
I think it was 1st and 5th, but yeah, still crazy. Still, he just got crazy amounts of votes. The Smash characters did pretty well. Not saying that's why they got in, but...
Nope, that's why they got in. Hold on. Don't lie to yourself.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I find it really amusing that they added in their respective Smash voice lines. So Roy actually says Roy's our boy. It's actually one of his voice lines.
Wait, did he?
And Ike says yes.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Like Ike.
I knew Ike. Yeah, that's amazing.
So it's definitely a bit of a cool homage there.
I think Choose Your Legends are a strange exception, because if they weren't very strong, people would have been upset. I feel as though that's a fair suggestion, because there's a big popularity contest beforehand, and we waited 6 months for these units, people are excited. People were constantly saying, like, oh, still no sign of Choose Your Legends heroes, and how about those Sacred Stones units as well,
Can you imagine the response if they actually made the COL units bad? Like, they kind of had to be really good,
With that said, though, Blazing Durandal is very obviously power creep over Durandal. Same with the killer and slaying weapons. Like, I mean, you could argue initiation, but heavy blade and attack +3 in one is a very good combination. And if Blazing Durandal were available to other units other than Choose a Legend Roy, there would be a problem there. Same like I said with Alincia and Amity. I think legendary weapons is where they sort of they cheat the system a little bit, because you can put powerful effects on it, but it's exclusive to that one unit.
Are the COL units the first example of units with increased stats that also have legendary weapons? I think they might be.
They are. I thought we would see more of that, because all the legendary weapons in Fire Emblem games always give you like bonus stats, and that would help characters who have bad weapons, like what's his name, Seliph or Lyn.
Ix Ragnell gives +5 defense in his game.
Yeah.
So does Alundite, but yeah.
I think regarding power creep, it's maybe an issue if a year from now we have our third version of Ike and he has Ragnell, but he also has increased stats, or
Blazing Ragnell.
Imagine, like they need to be careful with legendary weapons, because
making them different colors to their originals is a really good idea too.
It's more so the fact that you can make this legendary weapon, but you need to be very careful who you give it to, because we could get a variant of Eliwood in the future who has the Blazing Durandal, but if his stats are better than existing Eliwood, that's pretty clearly power creep,
Wouldn't it just be more likely that we get the option to give the Blazing Durandal to Eliwood?
I mean, it's possible, but I don't really see it happening.
My aforementioned friend actually tried to do it, and he
Really?
didn't even realize. It just made sense to him. He, like, Durandal.
Yeah, I guess so.
Then he realized, oh, of course I can't do it.
That would save characters like Lyn and Seliph from like having to tote around sub. I don't hate Soul Cody, but like it's just not good enough.
I don't know. I mean, this is why it's going to be interesting when we hear about what sacred coins finally do. Because I've seen a lot of theories that sacred coins are going to be used to upgrade weapons. Most notably, killing to slaying. And, there's an argument that legendary weapons would be included in that as well. Eliwood Durandal to Blazing Durandal. Or Selif's turfing to not awful turfing. Something like that. So really, I think we just need to wait and see. I think power creep isn't a major issue in the game right now, but it's very possible that it could be in a few months' time, or in a year's time.
Yeah. The stat lines of new units are kind of getting better over time, I think.
I mean, they gotta
Generally
be. If they released Henry today, like that stat line is, no one would summon on that.
Oh, imagine if for
There's
some...
just one guy listening to this podcast who's like, oh, yes I would,
No, I think, alright, here's a theory. Dauntless Chromians, right? There were only 3 units in that banner. What if there were 4 and we had Bastion, the mage that hangs out with Alincia, and he was a red mage with Henry stats. But then they were like, no, we can't do that. We can't contest the red summoning pool, There would be so many people summoning for Alincia, and it's like...
I actually secretly
Bastion
really hoped...
again! Imagine that. That would be riots.
Just buy a Bastion reskin. Just skin your Henry with Bastion.
Oh, I hope that never becomes a thing.
I was really hoping Alincia would release with her 3 retainers. Alincia, Bastion, Lucia, and Jeffrey.
Yeah, that seemed like the obvious banner, didn't it?
I think Bastion's actually uses wind magic mainly, so that would kind of mean that to not double up, Alincia would have to be a healer, and I'm glad she's not a healer.
I think you're right.
Let's just get that straight.
But yeah, I think Alincia, sort of going back to power creep, Alincia probably set off a lot of alarm bells in people's heads. Because I remember as soon as we saw the trailer showing off Amity, people were saying she can't have more than 30 strength. Like, she can't. Because, Alincia didn't have much attack in her base game, and that's a really strong effect on Amity. So if it were higher than 30, she would be busted. Lo and behold, 34 attack.